it just goes. It just goes. Alrighty. What's going on, guys? Ocean Super here. No, just kidding. This is buddy Xavier. It's my first time riding a 1000. Biggest bike I've ever ridden was a RC 390. And honestly, it's not that huge of a jump, believe it or not. I mean, let me preface and say I'm 6'3", 265. So, I mean, I'm a pretty big boy, and this is a pretty big bike, so they kind of go hand in hand. But, I mean, there's this stigma out there that 1000cc bikes are too big for the street or too big for beginner riders or whatever. But, I mean, let me just say this. If you have enough sense in your right wrist to the point where you're not going to whiskey throttle it at a dead stop, I mean, there's really not much else you need to worry about, right? I mean, if you have a brain between your ears and you know your left from your right hand and shit like that, right? You're gonna be fine. I mean, granted, this is the slowest 1000cc bike, but it does still have 170 horsepower at 435 pounds or something like that. It's definitely pretty fucking quick. I mean, this will turn a 6'3", 265 man into a fucking meat missile. I mean, it just fucking goes, right? But at the end of the day, you still need to be smart with it, and that wasn't a very smooth downshift, but still getting used to the bike. But I mean, this bike will just fucking go and go and go for days. And I mean, once we get into the twisty portion up here, you'll be able to see how it kind of handles. But I mean, with this bike is a little bit portly for a 1000. She's a little heavy. But I mean, for what it is, and for fucking how much power it has, this thing will fucking handle like it's on rails. And I mean, it's funny because my brother rode this same bike before I did, and it was the RC 390 that I rode of his. He had an 883 before that, and he was a big Harley guy or whatever. But he decided to come to the dark side of sport bikes because he'd never really experienced them before. But he got on this thing and was like, it's not that fast. And we're like, wait, what? What do you mean? How is it not that fast? But then I get on it and I'm like, wait, you're right. It's really not that fast. It's as fast as you want it to be. It's as fast as anybody who has as much riding experience as I have can handle, right? But it is still not gonna kill you the second you hop on it, right? Like all these people are saying, oh, don't buy a 1000 if you never ridden a 600 or never ridden a big bike, right? Well, I call bullshit, because again, the biggest bike I've ever ridden was an RC 390, and I hop on this thing and it's like I'm right at fucking home, right? It's literally like mommy's apple pie. I mean, it's just so welcoming, so comforting, so warm. But that is to be taken with a grain of salt, that this bike can and will kill you if you're an idiot. But that's the same way with any bike. I mean, you can hop on a fucking 250 dirt bike and try to huck it through a turn too fast, and you're gonna fucking fly off the road and die, right? So, I mean, it just puts you in those situations a little bit quicker because it gets from point A to point B in a blink of an eye. But if your point A to point B is smart, and you know, you're not fucking flying, flooring it up behind this car in front of me, you'll be all right. And I mean, that's just to say, like, if you're a girl, or if you're 5'2", 130 pounds, even less than that, right? You're gonna hop on this thing and you're not gonna love your life, especially if you've never ridden something like this. But for me, damn near 300 fucking pounds, 265, right? 6'3". I mean, this bike is comfortable. It doesn't want to buck me off of it, and I can just give it any amount of throttle at any amount of time, and it is just gonna fucking take it, and it's gonna take me where I want to go. And I'm not trying to say that I'm the most beginner of riders out there. I mean, I've been riding for damn near 2 years, but I've only ever ridden a 250 and a fucking RC 390. I rode the RC 390 once, and So that was the first sport bike I ever rode. And I rode that 250 probably, I don't know, maybe once every other month for the last 2 years. So, I mean, I've probably been on a bike less than 25 times in my life, right? But for me to hop on this fucking beast of a bike and not have really much of a problem with it, I mean, that just speaks volumes to how good of a fucking bike a 1000 is, even on the street. Granted, I'm not necessarily enjoying the fact that I'm stuck behind these cars and that big ass fucking truck up in the distance. But, I mean, I'm sitting here with my right arm on the fucking throttle, my arm on the tank. I mean, it's as comfy as could be. But, I mean, I wish there wasn't cars in front of me so I could show you how this thing fucking hucks in. But, I mean, she just, like, leans in and, I mean, it just fucking takes it. Right, I could have taken that turn at 55, 60 and I would have been just fine. Not saying I was gonna, but, you know, I could. And that's the thing, is that if you can't ride within your means and you can't ride... If you ride to the limit of the bike, not your own limits, you're going to run into some issues. But if you ride at your limits and don't give a fuck about what the bike says, because this bike can do anything I want it to do, right? I'm not going to reach its limits at all before I reach mine. So as long as you stay riding within your limit and you keep some sense in your noggin and you just kind of keep it under a little bit, you'll be just fine. I mean this bike still got a fucking good bit of fucking get up and go, right? And it's really fun. But notice how I didn't go much faster than 75, 80 right there, because, you know, if I went faster than that, I'm gonna be a fucking creamsicle on the back of this fucking lawn care truck, and that's no good for anybody. But you just gotta find the balance between being a hooligan and, you know, enjoying the fact that this bike has more power than you'll ever need, and the fact that, you know, you are still a beginner rider. Or, I mean, if you are, in this case, I mean, if you've ridden a bike bigger than a 650, hop on this, you'll be fine. Like, that's honestly my opinion, because I hopped on this with a level of respect after only ever riding a 400 once. I mean, and I was, but granted, the first time I got on it, I was a bit shaky, and the first time I gave it throttle, I about shit my pants. But I mean, it just kind of fucking, it just gets it, and it's so smooth and accepting, and fucking, it just loves it, you know? I mean, there hasn't been anything that I've done to this bike or will do with this bike that it just doesn't love. And a lot of people are gonna say, like, oh, I don't really want to be hunched over on a 1000 for the street. I've got fucking bad knees, a bad back. I mean, I've played football for my whole life. I'm about as bad shape as a 19-year-old can be, and I'm absolutely loving the ergonomics. My knees are nice and tucked up underneath me, but that means I pucker around, right? Like, there's no problems with that. If I was on a bike like, say, big ass cruiser, I'd probably be in more pain then than I am now. And it's really weird to say, but I'm about guaranteeing you that's the truth. Because, I mean, I've ridden a 883 Sportster before, and it was just not it. I mean, it was uncomfortable as all get out. My fucking ass was numb by the end of it. It just wasn't for me. But now you get on a 1000, and I've got the itch for speed. I mean, if I had the chance to take this thing on the highway, I mean, I'd be full tuck going 130 right now, and I'd love every second of it. But I mean, just in the scenario that I'm in right now, stuck behind a fucking truck with a trailer, going 40 miles an hour, just kind of giving her a little giggle fest every once in a while, right? I mean, she just loves it. And that was a good downshift. I mean, it's just so much fun, and it's just so much power. But if you have some sense in your right wrist and you don't give it too much, I mean, you're gonna be more than okay. I mean, I'm not trying to say that this bike doesn't scare me at certain occasions. I mean, it does, right? You're gonna give it full throttle, and you're gonna feel this front wheel come up, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, what do I do? Well, you just keep fucking going, and eventually the front wheel goes down, right? I mean, it's just, there, in a certain sense, there's a level of insanity you need to ride a bike like this, but that's that same thing, you need a level of sanity to ride it. You know what I mean? So if you can toe that line between insane and sane, and, you know, being an idiot and being the smartest guy out on the road. I mean, because at the end of the day, you are a motorcycle, right? If you do stupid shit's gonna happen back. And I mean, you fucking get what you give, and if you give stupid, it's gonna give you stupid. And I mean, if you give stupid consistently, this is not the bike for you. But if you're like me and other people who ride 1000, I mean, granted, there's guys out there like fucking Jixer Bra and all these dudes who fucking do wheelies going 130 down the fucking interstate in Texas. Like, no, I ain't doing that. But you still gotta be a sane motherfucker to ride one of these, but also too, it's not for the faint of heart, because this fucker will go 130 miles an hour if you want it to, and it will absolutely love it. Good, he's not turning. Okay, let's get this fucking Yui going. And this thing just loves parking lots, dude. You would think that it's a 1000, so it's big and heavy. No. This thing just fucking leans over, and I mean, she just loves life. I mean, really, there hasn't been a single time on this motorcycle where I felt like I don't have control over it for the entirety of the time I'm on it. Right? I mean, she just loves life. And I mean, it's just fucking, it just goes. It just goes! Right? I mean, and I short shifted the hell out of it. But she just she loves it. She just goes, man. And it just, oh, if there wasn't this car in front of me. But yeah, dude, she just fucking hits it, rips it, and loves it while you're doing it. I mean, that's a fucking quarter throttle, and that's the fastest I've gone on a bike. But I mean, on that same token, it's so planted, like, oh, it's just so good. That's the best way you can describe this, is just so good. I am a little worried what that fucking scraping noise is, though. It's not the kickstand. No, I'm fine. But I mean, yeah, oh, you know, it's probably the helmet. But I mean, this thing just fucking, dude, it is so fast, but it's really controllable. I mean, the first time literally after I got on this bike for the first time, I started looking on fucking Cycle Trader and Facebook Marketplace for a CBR like this. I mean, because I don't want to get off it. This is the most fun I've ever had in my life, and I don't want to get off of it. Because it just is, in my opinion, it's the perfect bike, man. It's like, some people are going to say, oh, I'd rather have like an MT-10 or something like that. But it's like, dude, if you're going to have sport bike power, I want sport bike handling too, you know? Like, I want to be tucked in, and I want to be able to go like this and fucking rail on it, right? But you can't really do that on an MT-10. You really can't. And I mean, I'm just sitting here, I mean, granted, my balls are in a bit of a fucking bunch, right? But I mean, she's just loving life. I'm loving life, this bike's loving life. It's like a symbiotic relationship. We're just kind of getting along, and I tell it what to do, and it just listens like a good little girl, you know? I mean, it just fucking loves it. So I mean, if you want a bike that just does what you want it to do without you really even thinking about it, then this is the bike for you, man. I mean, granted, there is better bikes out there. Like, there's faster, there's better handling, there's better looking. I mean, kind of, there's better looking. I mean, I think this bike is gorgeous, but I mean, there's better sounding. Like, there's always going to be a better bike at something. But if you're like me, and like people who buy these bikes, and you want the perfect package, a fucking leader bike, CBR 1000 RR, any of these, I mean, they're insane. They are the best thing that I've ever experienced in my life. And I will stand by that till the day I die. As soon as I have enough money to afford one, I am buying a 1000. And that is just the end of the discussion for me. I mean, it's just so good. I mean, it is just so good. It is just so good. right? It just loves life, man. It really just loves life. And it makes me love my life. I am concerned what that scraping noise is, but I think we'll be okay. But, I mean, this isn't my bike, obviously, so I want to be careful on it, but, I mean, it just, like, that was quarter throttle, and I don't need to go any faster than that. Like, it just pulls and pulls. Like, it just does it, dude. I mean, it is honestly amazing what this bike can do. That's like the 5th bike I've seen out here. These guys are all having a good time just like me. I mean, this is just like, this is heaven for me right now, dude. I'm a big car guy too. I mean, I had a Stage 2 Focus ST that was making like 300 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque in a little hatchback. I mean, that thing fucking got up and go, and it went like a little fucking blue piss missile. And I've also driven a fucking 2020 10-speed Mustang GT with like 460 horsepower, and those do not touch this at quarter throttle. I mean, it is just ridiculous. I mean, this, in all honesty, if you don't want cars to get ruined for you, and you don't want speed in general to be a warped perception, then you might not want something like this. But for me, I want to go as fast as I possibly can, as soon as I possibly can, and do it in the safest way possible. And for me, that's a 1000cc sport bike. It's just because I don't have to ride the bike at its limits to go fast. I can kind of teeter-totter on mine and not really have to worry about what the bike's doing, and that way all I'm focused on is what I can do and what I can handle, right? So it's like, there's something to be said for riding a bike that doesn't really have a limit. I mean, that you can achieve on streets, right? Like, you're not going to achieve the limit of this sport bike on the road. I mean, unless you're fucking hucking it through corners like Yammy Noob. But, I mean, other than that, you're fucking, I mean, it's like you're just cruising on it. It makes no, it might sound contradictory to cruise on a sport bike. But at the end, I'm gonna go straight here. It might sound contradictory to cruise on a sport bike, but at the end of the day, right, motorcycling isn't always about going fast. It's not always about going fast in turns. It's not always about being the most comfortable guy on the road. But if you want a bike that can do every single one of those things extremely well, if you can handle the ergonomics of it, right, there's nothing better than a CBR 1000RR, man. There just isn't. And it's really kind of pains me to say it, because I mean, I've been a fan of stuff like ZX6Rs and Gixxer 750s and stuff like that, but if I can hop on a bike like this after only riding a Ninja 400, or sorry, RC390, and be just as happy and be plenty fine and not be in any sort of dangerous scenario, then what is the point of buying a bike that isn't a leader bike? You know what I mean? Because it's just so effortless. Like, that's 80 right there. I mean, like, who on God's green earth doesn't love going 80 miles an hour with your fucking, with your arms and your whole body in the fucking wind? I mean, it's just, who doesn't love it? I don't want to miss my turn here, but I mean, this is just an amazing motorcycle. I love this thing more than I love myself half the time, you know? I mean, because it is just so good. It is just so good. Oh, those downshifts are so nice. But, I mean, Oh yeah. Oh, look at all the birdies. Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Oh, that was so cool, but also very scary. But, you know, I handled her. Dude, the brakes are just so good on this bike. I mean, it just goes, man. It really does. It goes and it stops so well. Oh my god. Oh. Dude, there's just nothing like this in the world. There is nothing like this in the world. I've never enjoyed myself more in my life. See, slow hidden entrance here. Anybody coming? Nope, we good. We good, Chief. Oh, that's a little bit of a tighty. But I mean, this bike just does whatever you want it to do. Nice, stay in your fucking lane. Woo! I mean, it's just so good, man. It really is just so good. I'm gonna calm her down a little bit here because I think this is my turn coming up here. Yeah, I believe, yep, this is my road. But I mean, oh my god, this bike is just, is literally a fucking symphony. I mean, it just sounds so good. It feels so good. I mean, so the moral of the story is, if you're a bigger guy like me and you have a decent bit of riding experience, don't be scared to hop on a 1000 and test the waters on it. Mind you, you need to hop on this bike with a huge amount of respect, like a huge amount of respect. But once you get a feeling for the bike and you understand where you and the bike are and where your limits are, I mean, you'll be perfectly fine. This is the, I honestly can't imagine a more perfect bike. This is just amazing. And I mean, that's just kind of the whole message of this, is that don't be afraid to hop on a 1000, because I mean, I'm having the time of my life, and I'm not the most seasoned rider in the world, you know. But if you are a scared motorcycle rider and you're not exactly the brightest bulb in the box, then don't do it. You need to be an intelligent person. You need to know your limits and know the bike's limits and be able to toe that line. If you can do all those things, you'll be just fine. But I want to go ahead and thank Ocean for letting me ride this bike and letting me make this video for him. Hope all you guys have a good day. All right, bye.